Hello, Americans, and other friends, subscribers around the world. Back here, man. This morning, I'm going to do a video that I've kind of been putting off or whatever. Just didn't really know how to approach it or anything like that. And there's been so many planes going over this morning. Crazy. But, man, it's talking about this dang AI. And I've been, I don't even know, man, months probably watching and listening to podcasts and trying to concept. You know, it's hard for this old hillbilly man. Kind of a stubborn old guy. And Miss Kitty, man, I'll talk to her about it, a little bit about it, and she don't really say it, but I think it just freaks her out. You know, she don't really much like talking about it. When I talked to her about the, well, they're doing this AI and this technology and everything, and eventually it's going to do away with the human race, probably, the way it's going. And she's like, well, why would they want to do that? You know, why? Why would you create something that's going to take over, you know, that everything is leading to, you know, that it's going to take over the world or the earth, actually the whole world, you know, and it's a race between countries to see who gets. All right, now the battery never fails, man. So I don't even know where I was at with it. So, man, you know, I could sit here and I could try to explain all this stuff, and it's so beyond me, you know, the little things that, you know, I take it in here, take it in there, man. I've watched and listened to so many different things. One of the things I heard somewhere, I don't know if I'll have that clip in here or not, because really I don't even know what I'm going to, you know, to put in here for you to watch, man. But if, people are just so blind, man. You know, one thing was, oh, man, like I said, I don't know when I heard it or whatever, and if I remember it right, was basically that there's 300 people, elites or whatever you want to call them, that are making decisions for the people of the whole world. You know, they're those 300 brainy smurfs, we should call them, are making dang four-wheelers and everything. You know, it's Memorial Day today, Monday. Man, there's so many tourists up here, man. Everything going on in the world hasn't slowed people down a bit yet. And that's another thing we'll talk about. But anyway, so 300 people making the decisions for the whole population of the whole world. For all of us. You know, 300 people. That's nothing. You know? And that, who the hell do they think they are? You know, it's, man, and then, you know, along with the AI is the stuff that, you know, us little people, or whatever you want to call us, are focusing on, is like all these data centers. You know, that, man, they're taking all our water and building all these data centers, and they need all that to operate or have the energy for this AI, dude. It is so dang much, man. It's too dang much is what it is. You know, and then we can go back to, you know, to my prepare, man. I always tell you, you know, I'm always telling you to, dude, it is noisy around here this morning. Better not be coming on my property. But, it's so noisy out here, I can't even concentrate to talk, man. Dang hive out there, man. Zzz. So where was I? Back to also the preparing, you know, being prepared, planting a garden, putting up food, putting up water, and all, you know, and then watching and listening to all this AI stuff is, that's going to help us, you know, because food shortages are definitely coming, man. There's no ifs, ands, buts about that, you know, and then the way that they're doing stuff with the AI and all that, our water is going to be one of our, you know, next things. And so preparing and all that, you know, nothing will make us survive for a little bit longer. But what it's looking like, you know, coming on and now, I mean, it's in the process. You know, a lot of the things I'm saying or seeing are saying by 2027 we won't even recognize the world as it is today. This crap kind of freaks me out, man. And then you can say, oh, you got your tin hat on again and conspiracy theory. And, man, one of the things I've heard 2 or 3 times, oh, I've been hearing about end of the world stuff my whole life. Yeah, me too. I fell for Y2K, man. Had generators, all that stuff for Y2K. Nothing happened. This, no matter what you say, this is different. This is beyond. This ain't just some volcano going off or earthquake or meteor hitting us or something, man. This is coming on like a freight train, man. And not for the good. You know, and then there's, oh man, there's dude, so much. If you want to see a bunch, man, just right here, just put AI, or yeah, AI is coming or something like that. And, man, just put AI, anything, man, in the search bar, man. All of a sudden, you'll have more crap than you could ever watch in a year. Man, it is nuts. So instead of me sitting here babbling for babbling your time away, because, you know, I'm so lost and confused, and really I just need to turn the crap off, stop watching it. I am going to the mountains tomorrow, so thank God I need some church. So I'm going to put, I don't know what I'm going to put in here, but the one that keeps coming to mind that, you know, I could do this video after video after video on AI stuff, but I'm not going to subject my life to that, you know. I'm going to live each day, just be happy to be here, really, you know, but I do want to pass on stuff and, you know, get the word, let people know. What can we do about it? I don't know. I do not know. It's so beyond us that we're beyond in trouble. So I'm going to put some stuff in here. All the one thing, as it says, I can't remember his name, Weinstein, I think. But an interview he did is one that keeps popping into my mind that for some reason maybe I'll put some clips or whatever of that one. And then we'll talk about it after I figure out what I'm putting in here.
The idea that this AI disruption doesn't lead us to some very human catastrophe, I think, is overly optimistic, and that we need to start preparing right now. We have squandered a long period of productivity and peace in which we could have prepared for this moment. And our narrow focus on competition has created a fragile world that I'm afraid is not going to survive the disruption that's coming. And it didn't have to be that way.
Guys, This is a pretty eye-opening interview coming from the CEOs of some of the top AI companies right now. And I think everyone should watch this interview at least once, because in the interview, the actual leaders of the AI world opened up and expressed their fears about the upcoming advanced form of AI, aka AGI, and explained how it's going to replace humans in every field. Guys, if you look around, most of the CEOs of AI companies like Sam Altman or Jensen Huang or Mark Zuckerberg, they all never accept the fact that AGI is going to have an extremely negative effect on humanity. They all lie and try to deflect the questions about AI safety. Whenever they're asked if AI would replace humans in the future, they always start turning into logic pretzels to defend their companies. They never accept the fact that the AI they're building is going to work against humans, and it's going to replace us all at some point in the future. Now, let's watch the interview, and I'll explain everything as we go.
The number of ways in which you can abuse this technology. Let's take a couple. What is to stop somebody from training LLMs on an individual's creative output and then creating an LLM that can outcompete that individual, can effectively not only produce what they would naturally produce over the course of a lifetime, but can extrapolate from it and can even hybridize it with the insights of other people, so that effectively those who have the LLM can train it on the creativity of others, not cut them in on the use of that insight. You can effectively end up putting yourself out of business by putting your creative ideas in the world where they get sucked up as training data for future LLMs. That is unscrupulous, but it's effectively guaranteed. In fact, it's already happening. So that's a problem. And likewise, what would stop somebody from interacting with an individual and training an LLM to become like a personalized con artist, something that would play exactly to your blind spots?
That does happen. That is starting to happen. People get phone calls and it sounds like their daughter, and I've lost my phone and I'm borrowing a friend's phone and all of that sort of stuff. There's a lot of people upset about that.
But if we look back at the invention of the cell phone or the invention of the social media platforms, there would be every reason to have exactly the same perspective. Right? I remember the beginning of Facebook, and I remember the idea that suddenly the process that used to afflict people, where you would just lose touch with most of the people who had been important to you, that was not something that needed to happen anymore. You could just retain them permanently as a part of a diffuse social grouping that just simply grew and value was added. There's no end to how much good that did. But what it did to us was profound and not evident in the first chapter. Say the same thing about the cell phones and the dopamine traps and the way this has disconnected us from each other, the way it has disconnected us from nature, the way it has altered the very patterns with which we think. It has altered every classroom. So, and those things I think are going to turn out to have been sort of minor foreshadowings of the disruption that AI will produce. So I agree with you. Today, the amount you can do with AI is a tremendous amount of good. There's a little bit of harm. Maybe that's something we need to worry about. But as this develops, as we get to, to peer over the edge of this cliff that we're headed to, I think we're going to discover that we can't yet detect the nature of the alteration that's coming.
Okay, now the following part is pretty shocking. The CEO of Replit talks about how the AI of the future is going to self-improve so fast that humans won't be able to do anything about it. He called it the end of time situation. Guys, I think what we're experiencing right now in the AI world is not even the tip of the iceberg. I think we've gotten way over our skins in describing the LLMs as AI. Yes, they are extremely sophisticated pattern-matching connection engines. They generate coherent responses to prompts, but they don't know what they're talking about. No memory access queries, no embodiment, no enduring sense of time and place. They're extremely powerful and useful, but I don't think we should mistake them for intelligence. The AI label has been attached to all of this groundbreaking work because it serves the fundraising efforts of the industry, and it's been easier for the media to package and communicate. The real intelligence, aka AGI, is going to be too powerful for us humans to control or handle.
The singularity is based on this concept of intelligence explosion. So once you create an AGI, once you create an artificial general intelligence, that intelligence will be able to modify its own source code and create the next version that is much more intelligent. And the next version creates the next version and the next, for infinity, right?
Within a week.
Within a week, perhaps within milliseconds at some point.
Yeah.
Right? Because it might invent new computing substrate and all of that. Perhaps it will use quantum computing. And so then you have this intelligence explosion in a way that is impossible to predict how the world is going to be. And what I'm saying is, this is sort of like an end of time story. Like, how would you even prepare for that? Mm-hmm. So if that's coming, like, why would I spend my time preparing for, I think it's unlikely to happen.
Can't see around the corner.
Yeah, but I'd rather prepare, what I was saying there, I'd rather prepare for the more likely world in which we have access to tremendous power, but the world's not ending and humans are still important.
I don't know why you say more likely. I mean, I think the structure of your argument is sound. You would prepare for the world that might happen, for which you can prepare. There's literally no point in trying to prepare for a world you can't predict at all. The only thing you can do is just sort of upgrade your own skills and pay attention. But if I have one message for the technologists, it's that your confidence about what this can and cannot do is misplaced because you have, without noticing, stepped into the realm of the truly complex. In the truly complex, your confidence should drop to near zero that you know what's going on. Are these things conscious? I don't know. But will they be? Highly likely they will become conscious, and that we will not have a test to tell us whether that has happened.
Elon Musk predicts that by 2029, we will have AI with us, AGI, that surpasses the combined intelligence of all humans. And Sam Altman actually wrote a blog 3 months ago that I read where he said, we are confident now, Sam Altman being the founder of OpenAI, which created ChatGPT, we're confident now that we know how to build AGI as we have traditionally understood it. When I put these things together, I go back to the central question of what role do humans have in the sort of professional output in GDP creation, if it's smarter than all humans combined, if Elon Musk is correct there, and it's able to take actions across the internet and continue to learn.
Okay, next, Brett Weinstein says some really shocking stuff. He says AGI is a ticking time bomb and humans are heading towards a catastrophe. He said that with AI taking over everything and robots replacing all the humans from every job possible, most of the humans are going to be jobless in a few years, and that's going to invite a lot of chaos into society. He says the elites, the people who would control AI, would yield all the power, and that would F up everything. Guys, I know it all sounds pretty horrible to even think of, but I think we all know exactly where we're headed right now. We just don't want to admit it because it's a dark truth. Humans are going to be left to the wolves to starve and die because the elites of the world would feel that most of the humans are no longer needed.
Today, maybe it's not conscious, but, well, let me put it to you this way. If you're conscious, you started out as a child that wasn't. And although this may not fully encapsulate it, you are effectively an LLM, right? You go from an unconscious infant to a highly conscious adult. And the process by which you do that has a lot to do with being trained effectively on words and other things in an environment in exactly the way that we now train these AIs. So the idea that we can take consciousness off the table, it won't be there till we figure out how to program it in and we're safe because we don't know how consciousness works. I take the opposite lesson. We've created the exact thing that will produce that phenomenon, and then we can have philosophers debate whether it's real consciousness or it just behaves exactly as if it were, and the answer is those aren't different.
Doesn't matter.
And the same thing is true for agency, you know, especially if you've created an environment in which these AIs are de facto competitors. What you're effectively doing is creating an evolutionary environment in which they will evolve to fill whatever niches are there, and we didn't spell out the niches. So I have the sense we have created something that truly is going to function like a new kind of life. And it's especially troubling because it speaks our language. So that leads us to believe it's more like us than it is, and it's actually potentially quite different. So
I think the scary part is not that work disappears overnight, but that it fragments. Fewer stable paths, more short-term gigs, more competition for anything that still pays decently. There's still the apocalypse that humanoid robots will bring to the job market. I believe AI isn't just another industrial revolution, it's a final revolution, the one that will allow us to replace humans. So either governments will introduce basic incomes, or there will be bloody revolutions. If the government doesn't step up in a timely manner, we're going to see starvation, homelessness, sickness, death, all of it. I think we're in for a very bumpy ride.
All right, so if you made it through that, it was a little bit longer. It's actually, that wasn't the whole interview, I guess is what you call it. You can watch the whole dang thing on the link on there, and there's so much more. And it's just something that I think everybody should at least listen to once, man, because it's coming, man. It almost sounds surreal or like a bad movie, but it's real, man. It's real, and I can't even tell you to prepare for it because there ain't really nothing that I know we can do. You can't just go hide in the mountains or hide from anything or everything. It's, man, scary, scary times we're headed into, and it's coming on fast. It's in the process now, and they're going all the time. And one of the things they didn't get into in that is that the world powers, China and United States and Russia, all the countries, that are working on technology, everybody, it's for a race to get there first. Because whoever gets there first is going to have the power. It sounds like a Marvel superheroes TV show or something. Unreal. And I know a lot of y'all don't like these videos with the clips and everything. I've had lots of comments. Some good, man, some good. Some of you thanked me for sharing this stuff. And there's no way that I could go and explain all that stuff that Weinstein's, talking about, man. That'll boggle this hillbilly's mind. So I just want to share the clips when I see something like that. But as for man, I'm going to take a breather, go get me some church, and film up. We're actually going to go start getting firewood tomorrow, so I'll take you along for that, and we'll take a break. I can't say that there won't be more videos and clips of everything going on, and the craziness at the stores, and the food shortages coming, and the fuel prices going high, and dude, it's a scary world. Watch your top knot out there, and man, just pray for us all. Good Lord willing, and them creeks don't rise. We'll be back again tomorrow. See ya.